day two, you deposited $1,500 into joint savings. That came from a side gig. Tell me about the side gig and how do you all manage multiple income streams?
Well, I'm actually winding down on the side gigs now again because I've reprioritized and I'm rebalancing. So I'm finding I want to spend more time with our kiddo. But at the time, the side gig was bartending or picking up shifts like that. So I was picking up about 2 to 3, maybe 2 to 4 shifts a month and just bringing in a little extra income to make me feel more secure or be able to surprise myself with an extra jump to our travel account. And it was a lot to manage. Then we're doing some single parenting on the nights that he's bartending or I'm bartending, and it just wasn't working out as the entire family situation that we were looking for. And then the next day is also a day of recovery. We're really tired and our muscles are sore and my feet would just ache after being on my feet for 9 hours. So it wasn't worth it. I was losing days at a time from doing that.
Welcome back to Her Money. I'm Jean Chatzky, and today we are back with another episode in our special series, A Week in Her Wallet, where we follow real women from the Her Money community as they track their spending for 7 days and reflect not just on what they spent, but why. Because money is about more than numbers. It's about priorities, emotions, relationships, and how we want to live. Today, we're heading to Madison, Wisconsin to spend time with Kaitlyn. You'll be hearing from her in 2 ways. Live, right here with me as we look back on her week, but also in her own words through voice notes she sent us each day as the week unfolded. Kaitlyn's 32. She's a full-time state employee who also juggles multiple side gigs. She brings in between $5,000 and $8,000 a month. Kaitlyn lives with her husband, Toddler, 3 cats and a dog. And while life is busy, her goal this week was clear: to be more intentional. We are going to take a quick break. Hi, Kaitlyn. Thanks for doing this.
Hi, Jane. Thanks for having me.
Of course. So let's just start with some basics. What do you do? Where do you live? How much money do you make and does your partner make? And if you rent or if you own?
Well, I work for a Midwestern state. I am a program manager for a federally funded program. And my husband works for a pharmaceutical company as a supply chain manager. And together we make gross just under, I would say, 200.
Okay.
200,000 together. And we have a 2-year-old daughter.
Oh, I love that. And what does that mean in terms of your take home?
We get hit on taxes pretty hard, but I would say we're still around probably the 150 take home or maybe 140 take home.
Okay. All right. That makes sense. Do you own your house or do you rent?
We own it. We pay a mortgage still, but yes, it is ours.
Okay, that's amazing. And are there any big financial goals on your to-do list right now?
We have been considering buying another home to move into, not to own 2 homes, just for some more land to give our daughter the opportunity to be outside more and play. And we also have animals too, so it'd be nice to give them some room to roam. However, the housing market we live in is kind of wild right now, as I'm sure it is in most of the country. So we also just recently made a list of the things we do love about our home and the things we'd be willing to fix to make it work just to stay here. So it is kind of a goal, but we're still making it work.
It sounds like an episode of Love It or List It.
Kind of, and we're still on the fence about both. We love it, we also like to list it.
What made you decide that you wanted to track with us for a week?
I've been wanting to track myself anyway, so I thought if I joined up with HerMoney, I might have a little more accountability and transparency in what I'm doing.
In day one, in your very first voice note, you told us this week came at a perfect time. It was right after you and your husband had a budget night.
Today is day one of the audio diary. And this is coming at a great time because my husband and I recently did a budgeting night to find out where we are in meeting our goals or if we need to do better. Spoiler alert, we need to do better. So I'm trying to be more conscious of my spending. And I even wrote a little note for this week after we had our budget meeting. I wrote no online shopping, just so I could try to support myself in the sense that I need to do less online shopping. But joke's on me because I wanted to cancel this specialty membership I have at some like odd gifts, let's say. It's an online store for odd and just interesting, unique gifts. And I'm canceling the membership, but you get like free shipping with the membership. So I thought, well, I should buy whatever I need to get before I cancel the membership, and then I don't have free shipping anymore, which is a long way of saying I did girl math and I bought a mug for somebody sometime in the future. So I spent $13.70 on this specialty mug, and that is my shopping total for the day because I won't do any more shopping. And I'm getting around this by the fact that my husband is doing a little bit of grocery shopping for the essentials, where he will probably spend about $100 on diapers and milk and just other essentials. So I will say my total for today is $113.70, but I'm going to do better. No more excess spending, or at least that's the philosophy I am trying to create for myself.
What do you do in budget night?
We have budget nights regularly. It's probably quarterly, because too often and I will zone out and I will not be a part of it. So quarterly is just enough. And my husband happens to be an Excel wizard. So he's the one that creates the entire spreadsheet and breaks it down to what we need to be putting into our different pots. And it just covers all of our expenses, all of the necessities that we have to pay for, daycare, our mortgage, bills, etc. And then also the pots of would love to do, such as my travel. I have a travel pot of money in there that I'm frequently dipping into. I need to work on that. But also we have a pot for like gifts and celebrating family and family situations, things that we really want to prioritize in life. So all of that, most all of it is represented in our budget.
And how do you handle the money coming in through your paychecks and then getting into the pots?
We are very much trying to have a unified front on that. So his and her money, we don't do that. We more do our money because we're supporting our family and our life together. So we have our money come into a joint account, and then we have separate funding accounts because I'm a type of person that I need to see it be in its own account. Like my travel account is its own high yield savings account, and our bills come out of its own account, but it all starts together in this one 100% fund that gets divvied out automatically.
It sounds like your husband is sort of more dollars and cents and you're more big picture. Am I getting that right?
Yes, I thought I was a big picture. I thought I was a dollars and cents person, but turns out I have the ideas and then he has all the skills behind putting those dollars to work. So we very much need each other.
That's a good thing, right?
Yeah.
Unless sometimes when you've got a real numbers person with a real big picture person, there's some butting of heads. Does it ever get in the way for you guys?
It does, in the sense that I would love to be traveling more. I will tell you, we do travel a lot, but I want more of it. And then he's more like, okay, let's make the money before we spend it. And he brings me back down to earth, and I'll just say I married the right person. We're very good for each other.
That's amazing. In day 2, you said you spent $150 on cleaning, but you called it intentional.
Okay, day 2 of the audio diary, and I will say that today has been great spending-wise. No expenses, except yesterday was the day a cleaning crew came and did their marvelous work. We do pay for a monthly cleaning service that we just decided to start budgeting for and add into our monthly budget because we found that it is so worth it. My husband and I want to prioritize spending time with our daughter, our toddler, and want to deprioritize how much time we spend cleaning the house. With 3 cats and a dog, also the toddler, and the husband himself, it can be kind of a mess around here. So we actively decided to budget in a monthly cleaning service, and it has been phenomenal. So today was the day that expense was charged to our credit card, $150. So even though I didn't spend anything today, it was charged to my card today. But on the reverse of that, I will also say that both my husband and I have day jobs, and then we also have side jobs because we like to have multiple streams of income just to feel financially supported. And so today I was able to deposit about $1,500 into our joint savings account, all from my side job. And while I was there, the funniest thing, or I guess it's not super funny, haha, but just, it had never happened before. As I was at the drive-thru and trying to make my deposit, as he's processing the deposit, the man says, "Miss Kaitlyn, good to see you. I just wanted to say that you guys are doing a phenomenal job of saving." One, he had never told us that before. But he also says, "And I was just wondering, what are you saving for?" And to me, we're saving for a lot. But this in particular was just our joint savings account. So nothing in particular. It could be for a future family vacation, just future family bills like our mortgage, or potentially a down payment on a new house if we ever want to expand the family a little bit and grow outside of our current humble abode. Or it could be for anything. We had never actually tied a name to that savings account. So I panicked and I said, world economic collapse? And I don't really think he knew what to say to that. But he said, "Well, anyway, since you're doing such a great job of saving, we wanted to introduce you to the concept of our high yield savings account. You don't have to pull everything. You can just pull over a little bit and you'd be making a bit of a higher percentage by keeping your money there instead of your regular joint savings account with us." And he asked if he could send me the details, and I said, sure, why not? My husband already has a high yield savings account elsewhere, and I have a version of like a short-term bond fund elsewhere, but we didn't have a high yield savings account through this credit union. So I thought it was worth looking into. And it just would be another place, another vehicle for us to do some more heavier savings. So I thought that would be worth looking into. But yeah, between all the side jobs and all these family things and home life going on, we are doing a really solid job, I think, of trying to prioritize what is important in life. And I think our budgeting process has been instrumental in detailing that out for us. So I'm excited for where this is going to take us. Today's daily total comes to the $150 for the monthly cleaning. For my day job, I travel a little bit around the state, and tomorrow my mom and I will be leaving for a county in the middle of the state, and we'll also get the chance to visit my grandpa. My grandpa is finally ready to start going through my grandma's things that she had left behind since she passed a couple Februarys ago. So we're going to do that as a family and then celebrate her birthday on Friday. And all of this really helps solidify in me the things that I want to prioritize in my life. This is the perfect week to do this audio diary. So thanks for letting me be a part of it.
How do you and your husband weigh the trade-off between money saved by doing things yourself and the time and energy you save by paying for things? How do you draw the line?
Everything changed when we had our daughter. So now that she is in our lives, the light of our lives, we just want to be spending all of our time with her and giving her that kind of engaged experience that no matter what we're doing as a family, we're with her. And we couldn't do that if we were focusing on constantly cleaning the home. Like, we have 3 cats and a dog inside, and it's a mess, to be quite honest. And so we decided we are going to intentionally spend the money on a monthly deep clean that'll help me feel better in our home, but also allow me to spend more time with our daughter. That I think that's so much more important than the time I was spending cleaning.
When you said you had animals earlier, I was picturing horses and sheep, so I'm actually relieved to hear that it's 3 cats and a dog.
Oh my gosh, no, I could never handle that. I can't handle that much responsibility.
Oh, but 3 cats and a dog is, I think, a lot of responsibility, especially with a child. How did the animals react when you brought the baby home?
Very jealous at first. They were not her biggest fan, but over time, now that she knows their names and she calls out to them, now they're getting closer. They enjoy her company. Not so much her excited squeals, but other than that, it's all good now.
The same day, day 2, you deposited $1,500 into joint savings. That came from a side gig. Tell me about the side gig and how do you all manage multiple income streams?
I'm actually winding down on the side gigs now, again, because I've reprioritized and I'm rebalancing. So I'm finding I want to spend more time with our kiddo. But at the time, the side gig was like bartending or picking up shifts like that. So I was picking up about 2 to 3, maybe 2 to 4 shifts a month and just bringing in a little extra income to make me feel more secure or be able to like surprise myself with an extra jump to our travel account. And it was a lot to manage. Like, then we're doing some single parenting on the nights that he's bartending or I'm bartending, and it just wasn't working out as the entire family situation that we were looking for. So it was a lot to balance. And then the next day is also a day of recovery. Like, we're really tired and our muscles are sore and my feet would just ache after being on my feet for like 9 hours. So it wasn't worth it. I was losing days at a time from doing that.
Is your husband still bartending?
He has also wound down, and I believe he has one more shift and then he will be retired from that gig.
Is that how you all met?
I did meet him at a bar. He was bouncing and there was nobody else in the bar to talk to, so I made him talk to me, and then we just never stopped talking.
I love that. I love that. Midweek, you took a work trip that lined up with something really meaningful. You visited your grandfather and you went through your late grandmother's belongings. How did it feel to hold these things and touch these things and decide what to do with them?
Ooh, okay. Sorry, I didn't expect that to feel like it did. Oh my gosh. It was such an emotional experience. I'm so glad that my grandpa trusted my mom and I with my grandma's things, with her clothes, and it was weird to see them without her in them. And she was also a very like fashion forward person. She was an icon in that regard, and she would create her own clothes too, like scrap things together and they would be beautiful at the end of it. And she used to do that for me too. So seeing all of her pieces, her working studio to put all these things together was difficult, but we got to reminisce and remember her in an amazing way. The thing is, though, that her body type is or was a lot different from mine and my mom's. So we couldn't keep all of the clothes for ourselves as much as I wanted to. But I did end up taking about 7 or 8 huge bags full, like stuffed to the brim, full of her nice clothes. And I sent them to an interview closet in my city. So women who were experiencing homelessness or instability at home could choose clothes from this interview closet and hopefully make a little difference in their lives. And so it's really nice to know that something good came out of that.
That's so nice. We did that actually with some of my mother's stuff after we lost her. And you want the people that you love, at least I did. I want the people that I love to have what they wanted of her, to have what they wanted to remember, but also then you want it to do as much good as it possibly can. What did this experience make you think in general, and what's your general overall philosophy about possessions and things having value?
My philosophy has changed over time, especially going through that experience. There are definitely a few sweaters of my grandma's that I was like, I don't even care if they don't fit me perfectly. I'm keeping these. They just remind me so much of her, and I'm so glad I kept those. However, the 7 to 8 other bags, I'm going to get diminishing returns on the feeling of being near her. So the ones that meant the most to me, I kept, and then the rest of them, I did a little bit of that Marie Kondo, and I thanked them, but sent them on. And I do that with a lot of my stuff now. I feel my mind is less cluttered when my home is less cluttered. And I also want the space to enjoy time, again, with my daughter. Like, I don't want her to feel overwhelmed by all these things or constantly told, we need to clean up, we need to put this away, we need to do that before we can do that. I want it to be a more simplified life that's focused more on connections rather than things. And we've actually turned that into our gifting philosophy as well. For my daughter, specifically her major gifts, we request them to be more experience-based. Hence the swim classes that were also part of my week. Her grandma does that with her. And then we'll be getting a museum membership for this year's birthday. And we've taken her to petting zoos for her other milestones, just things that are experiential in nature, memory making, because you can always take those with you.
I love a great petting zoo. We are going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to get into a weekend full of ice cream, intentional joy, and chilling at home. We're back with Kaitlyn. On day 5, you talk about hitting a local coffee shop on one of your work trips.
Okay, Friday edition of What Did I Spend? Today I did have some more work in this small town, and I went to a coffee shop. I love to do that. I love to check out the local coffee shops, not a chain, but just a locally owned restaurant, and support their economy while I'm filling out the reports for the work that I do around my state. So I went to that coffee shop and I spent $9.42 on some coffee and a scone, which were both really, really good. And then I had my mom and my grandpa join me as I was filling out reports. And they spent more, but I didn't keep track. Let's see. And then we did a little thrift shopping together so I could get some more summer clothes for my daughter. So I spent $15.34 at the first thrift store. And then the second thrift store was a total of $34.43. But get this, I found an incredibly perfect condition vinyl record player. I have been looking for one for years. It's on my list. I have a list of things I want to find at thrift stores, and vinyl record player and records is on my list, and I found it, and it's perfect. So that one's more than just clothing for my kid. That's also my dream record player, and for such a steal too. Let's see. And then I did have to drive home and bring my mom back as well. And so I spent
$3.37 at Quick Trip for some car snacks for a total of $62.56, I believe. And maybe it works this way, maybe not, but my husband has his own little side thing of selling baseball cards and other sports cards on the side, and he sold 5 this week, totaling a little less than $500, which is crazy. It blows my mind. I won't subtract that because that's his little side gig, but that just is wild to me. I'm glad he has fun doing it, but I cannot imagine spending that much on a card. That's crazy. But anyways, so far this week, I know it's the end of the work week, but it has been really fun kind of keeping track of what I'm spending and what I'm spending it on, how I'm spending my time as I'm spending money. And it's just kind of all adding up to me that it's all about the experiences. Money is the vehicle to cultivating the life that my husband and I want. And even the relationship that my mom and I have, we were able to bond over a meal, bond over some coffee. And then we went and got my grandpa, and we were all able to bond over some stories. And looking through all these old records together, we learned about so many of his favorite songs. And so, yes, I'm super stoked about this record player, but I'm kind of even more stoked about the fact that he gets to pass down his collection to me because somebody will appreciate it and share his love of music. So far, this has been a really great experience, and there are 2 days left, so we'll see how that goes. But just wanted to say thank you to you guys for offering this opportunity to talk about it. So thanks, and happy Friday.
How do you find local places to support, especially if you're not in familiar territory?
I will say TikTok has done a lot for me in finding local places. And I do the same. So I ask the establishment that I arrive at if I just happen to drive by it and I haven't seen it online before. I say, this is a really cool little spot that I didn't know about. I'm wondering if you're okay if I post a little video about it. And I try to bring other people too. So yeah, definitely social media influences where I decide to go. But I'm lucky enough to get to travel around the little towns. And so my eyeballs do a lot of the work for me too.
This work travel is, I'm guessing, not the travel that you put money aside for. Where do you want to go? What's sort of the next big place on your list?
Oh, thank you for asking. How much time do we have? We actually leave tomorrow for Thailand. That's our next big one. And then my best friend is getting married in Italy in October. So we have a couple months in between.
Are you taking a 1-year-old to Thailand?
Absolutely not, Jean. No.
Okay. Relief is now pouring through me.
No, I cannot. We did take her on my husband's work trip to Ireland last year, and that is only a 6-hour flight and time difference, and that was still quite an experience. So based on that, we take her to more domestic trips, and we save the international for my husband and I.
Oh my goodness. Thank goodness. All right. Yeah. We're almost at the end of the week. On day 6, you told us that you like to shop for gifts all year long because that way the holidays are not such a scramble. I love that, but I have questions. How do you keep track of everything that you've bought through the year? How do you budget for gifts when you're buying on this kind of a regular basis? And what happens if you find something better 3 months later?
Those are all such good questions. So one of my pots of funding for my budgeting is gifting, specifically gifting for other people. I never used to think of it as a love language for me, but the more that I'm doing my budget, I see that it is. When I think of people, when I see something out and about, and I'm like, that is for them, then I feel connected to them. So I guess it is one of my love languages. So I budget throughout the year for that. And I also have a couple secret hiding places. If my husband ever listens to this, it's not in our house. They're outside. Don't bother looking. But I have secret places that I put things, and then I label them with the people's names so I know who they go to. And it does so happen that I will find something more exciting or better down the line. And if that's the case, if it's like a bigger purchase, I review what I already have for that person. And then I either decide to add to it, or I will save it for a birthday or Christmas or whatever the next thing is. Like, I can keep it going. And I always label it just in case. This is morbid, but in case something happens to me, people know that I was thinking of them and this will go to them in the future.
Goodness.
Everything will end up where it's supposed to.
Your total spend for the week was $584. By the standards of what we've been hearing doing these shows, that's pretty low. How does that make you feel? And is that typical for you?
Well, I will say that I actually missed a phone bill payment. So there's $184 of a phone bill that happened that same week. So
thank you for coming clean.
So it is a bit higher than that, but the higher amount is pretty typical for me unless we are spending on a trip.
Or maybe spending on your toddler, childcare, groceries. Kids are expensive. What have you done to maneuver those expenses? Have you developed hacks or systems that have helped you keep those costs in line?
I like to think so. A lot of my friends now have kids and have had girls specifically too, and they are very willing to share or pass down clothing or toys or items that they're no longer using. So I rarely, if ever, maybe a handful of times, have bought her new clothes from the store. But we are always taking hand-me-downs, and we were always thrifting. I want that to be one of her hobbies when she grows up. And then for daycare, we do have a closer relationship with our daycare provider. She is an awesome woman named Annie, and we would be lost without her. But because we've known her for so long, we did get a better deal on daycare than what's typical for our area.
I think thrifting, when done with an eye, is so magical. Emily, our social media manager, walked into my apartment this morning wearing this fantastic pair of like green cargo-ish pants that they had embroidered with a tea towel and just sort of patched it across the whole front of one leg. And I was like, I want those pants. Like, I want those pants, but I can't have them because they are an original that you only get when you. Exactly. Oh,
that sounds awesome. And that sounds like what my grandma used to do. I love that. Emily, keep it up. If they ever end up anywhere, let me see them. I want to.
Now that you've gone through this week of tracking, what has that done for your mindset? What has it done for your priorities? Have you noticed any changes?
Let's see. My priorities, I definitely noticed that my priorities had shifted. And previously, I wasn't as willing to spend on things that would be fleeting, let's say. So at the end of my daughter's first swim class, we treated our family to a round of ice cream to thank you for paying for the classes, for being there for her, for having this memory. But previously, I don't think I would have been as excited about doing that because ice cream doesn't last forever. You know, it's like this one-time thing. However, now my mindset is like, but we shared that memory. We have that experience of her first swim class. We have a photo of the day. And that means so much more to me than the idea of the fleeting ice cream. It's what's behind it that counts more to me. So there's definitely a bit of reprioritizing going on that I've noticed. And I'm much more willing to spend on things that are experiential than just saving for the sake of saving.
Kaitlyn, this was such a pleasure and I think really illuminating. So thank you so much for sharing.
Thank you for having me, for asking all these questions and making me self-reflect.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thanks for being part of our community.
Thank you.